Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Brandon. I'm the designer of Pretzel Party, and in this video I'm going to show you how to play Pretzel Party. Before moving on to the setup, gameplay, and component explanation for Pretzel Party, I have one quick disclaimer. I have the Pretzel pathway in front of me, otherwise known as the scoreboard. This is where players keep track of their points, and then whoever gets to, where is it, right here, 50 first will trigger the game end. Now, I was silly, and I bought the wrong type of meeples. They don't look that large, but for the board that I made, the component I made, they are quite bigger than what they need to be. But I updated the board game altogether to include mini meeples, so your scoreboard should fit them just fine. I have a little bit of a different setup for this video. I actually have a decent gimbal, thanks to my mother. Thank you, Mother, for that. And so now I can show you a better top view of all the components for the explanations I'm about to give. So for setup, and as always, you can find all of this in the rulebook over here. Yeah, that's right, I'm on this side of the camera now. Anyway, basically all you need to do is take everything out of the box. Just take it out, all the box, okay? All of it, everything. And over here, I know you can't see it too well, but I'll move it into the spotlight for a moment. These are the food trays that every player needs to have. So when you get these out, they actually fold. There's little creases. You can kind of see the crease right there. That was just my own decision, so that way it can fit into a smaller box, so it costs a little bit less to get out there. Anyway, give all these food trays to every player who is playing the game. Let's see, with the pretzel card deck, you just take all the cards, you shuffle them, and you put them all out in a 4x4 grid, because that's going to be the main area where people play. With the Grand Party Favor cards, you shuffle those, and these are just discard piles, they're just imaginary, so don't worry about those until you start playing the game. But anyway, you need a deck of Grand Party Favor cards, and then you need another deck of the Party Favor cards. Take those all out, shuffle them. I would suggest familiarizing yourself with all the different effects before you actually play the game, so you can kind of have an idea of what you're getting into and what strategy you may want to take during gameplay. But that's just me, that's just a little tidbit. Take out all these tokens. I'm not going to pick them out because they're pretty flimsy, but you will need them eventually. And just a recap, when you do get them, they go in the top right. That's why it says Pretzel Bites, and they're actually Pretzel Bite tokens, but it looks cooler like that, where it just says Pretzel Bites, in my opinion. Make sure you have all your meeples out. I said this earlier in disclaimer, these ones in particular are too big for the Pretzel Pathway, scoreboard, whatever you want to call it. But in all of the other, I updated it on the store page, so that way all of these are actually mini. They'll fit a lot better on here. That's pretty much setup. You have all the pretzel cards shuffled. Not this. This is just a discard pile for now. All the pretzel cards are shuffled. 4x4 grid. All of the food trays are passed out to every player. Scoreboard set out. All the meeples, or however many meeples you need for the game, are near the number 1 spot, which is down here. Just moving that up there in frame. Grand Party Favor cards are shuffled. They're in their own deck. Same thing with Party Favor cards. And the tokens are there, and that's pretty much set up. These next two sections are called How to Take a Turn and then How to Take a Turn Advanced. And the reason why I'm doing that is because, let's bring this into the focal point. On this food tray, players do not get points on the scoreboard over there until they complete a row. Whether it be the first row, second row, or third row. And I'll get into the explanation of how this works later. But for what I'm doing here in the video, for the player's very first turn, all they're going to do is they're going to take one of these pretzel cards. I'll take from this top one up here and hopefully show you what it is. And it looks like it's an end piece. Can't really focus that well on that, right? All right, whatever. It's an end piece of M&Ms, it looks like. So what I would do at that point, this is still part of my first turn, is I'd put it right here. I mean, you don't have to put it right there. It's just wherever there's an end piece. As you can tell on the food trays, end pieces are on the ends, obviously. That's why they're called end pieces. And then the middle pieces are in the middle. So I could put it here. I could turn it around, put it here. Whatever. I'll just put it here for now. Move that over there for a minute. After a player has chosen their pretzel card to place on their food tray, they replace the missing piece in the 4x4 grid. And that's pretty much their turn for the simple how to take a turn phase. Alrighty, now it's time to explain an advanced turn. These types of turns will happen later on in the game once players have received well over 5 points. As you can see over here on the Pretzel Pathway scoreboard, I'm representing myself as the green meeple here. I already have 14 points. And I have quite a few cards actually on my my food tray. Yeah, there's only 4 open empty slots at this point. So, in the rules, it states, which is basically me telling you, I mean, I came up with the rules, so obviously this is how the game should be played. Anyway, a player may use any pretzel. Oh, you can't really see it. You can't see it on the camera. I don't have the best space, so I'm doing what I can. If a player has any pretzel bite tokens, they may get rid of those to move on the score pad at the beginning of their turn before they take from the 4x4 grid, which is not shown here because I don't have enough room. Or they may use a party favor card, which I do have ready to use. Or if I had one on this side, a grand party favor card, I could flip that over and use that before I pick up a pretzel card. So here is how an advanced turn works. Just for this scenario, I'm going to use my party favor card, and I'm going to read to you, or I'm going to show you and read to you what it says. Whoop. It says, you may take pretzel cards from the discard pile instead of the grid to add to your food tray this turn. So, I'm thinking to myself, that's not too bad. Oh, look at that. I need one more middle piece on my third row, and it looks like in order for me to get a bonus, because if you'll notice there's little icons here for the bonuses, which I can talk more about that later, which I will talk about more about that later, but it's in the rule books as well. Anyway, I can take another middle piece that of the same type of pretzel, and I'm going to do that right now because here's a discard pile. I can take from the discard pile instead of the 4x4 grid because of my ability, and I'm going to put it here. Okay, and now this whole row gets discarded and my bonus procs off. So I'm just going to gently take these to the discard pile. Kind of have to use 2 hands here because they're dainty little cards. And it reads on the third line, +3 and pretzel bite or party favor, meaning a pretzel bite token or a party favor card. I can choose whether to take one of these and add it to my food tray or a party favor card. I'm just gonna pick a party favor card and see what I got. And I can use this on my next turn. I cannot use a token or cards acquired on the same turn. I can't use them during that same turn. So I'm just gonna put that there. +3, here's the cool part. And you can't really see it too well here, but in the rules it states, whenever a player passes or lands on a specific number on this, excuse me, on this pretzel pathway, they get extra cards or just extra abilities really to help them out. So +3, I'm at 14, so I'm going to go to 17. I passed the 15, and that is colored specifically to show that I can get a grand party favor card. And so I get that. Let's see what it is. It says double the move bonus every time you discard pretzel bite tokens from your food tray, which will come in handy later. But I can't use it now, so I would put it over to this side. And now that ends my turn. Now this section of the video, the game end, is going to be super, super short because using my green meeple here, let's just say I am awesome and I get to 50. At the end of my turn, let's say I complete a second line and I get +2 and a pretzel bite token. All right, sure. My dexterity is not the best. Okay, So let's say I clear out that row, I get +2, I was at 48, I got to 50. You get a pretzel bite token, leave that over there, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so first of all, that ends my turn. Secondly, it triggers the game end, at which point every other player, so let's say orange and blue, orange is over here, and blue's even closer on 46, they each get to take another turn before we add up the total scores. So at the game end, using this same scenario, don't forget, I acquired, I had to show this up close. I acquired 1 pretzel bite token before the game ended. Every one of these tokens that are placed back in the pile is worth +1 movement on the pathway over here. So technically I'd be at 51, and that would be my end score. And so after orange and blue takes their turns, then whoever has the most points wins. And now we come to the part of the components. Okay, so I'm gonna go from the smallest component to the largest because I think it's just easiest that way. We're gonna start with the pretzel bite tokens. There's literally only one purpose to these. It's to help you get movement. Let me move this over here just to kind of illustrate what I'm talking about here. Oh, there we go. Nice. Okay, so these tokens are literally meant to help players move faster on the pretzel pathway. And the way to do that is once you obtain tokens onto your food tray, then you discard them at the beginning of your turn in order to move your meeple, just, up the pathway, closer to 50. So, if we have 1 pretzel bite token, you discard it to the pile, you get to move your meeple up 1. If you have 2, you get to move it up 3, and if you have 5, and this all has to be in one action, by the way. You can't I don't even know how you, no more explanation on that. It's pretty simple. If you have your food tray full of 3, which you can only have 3 at a time anyway, if you have all 3 on your food tray, you just discard them all for 5 freaking points. Boom. Okay, next we're gonna move on to the party favor and grand party favor cards. This is gonna blow you away. Mind blowing what these do. The party favor cards simply help players, you guessed it, move along the pretzel pathway. And they have several, and I mean several, abilities. And this is not shuffled that well, but you can just read them later. They're decently powered. They help players move along the pretzel pathway. Simple as that. Same thing with grand party favor cards. The only difference, other than the background color, you'll notice that this is more of a greenish background color versus this blue/silver, blue-gray, blue-silver, whatever. And these also have various abilities. I'm not going to take it on, just whatever. Obviously not shuffled that well. Various abilities to help players move along the pretzel pathway to get to 50. Mind-blowing, right? And the only thing you should remember is when you have a meeple hit, or I should say land or move past a certain number on the pretzel pathway, then the player gets a card in accordance to the background. So like for 15 and 30, a player can get, for, I mean not for free, but they just obtain a grand party favor card. With all the other ones like 20 and 35, they obtain a party favor card. You can hold up to 3 party favor cards at a time next to your food tray. Yeah, food tray. And for the grand party favor cards, this is interesting. You can only hold 2. Now, to put this as simple as possible, one of these has to stay face down below the one that is active. Oh, that's a terrible choice. Terrible examples. Thanks, cards. You screwed me. Okay, example. This one can be active on the right side of your food tray, and then the second one has to be below it, face down, not active. When you want to replace this one, you discard it, and you move your inactive one to the active spot. Simple as that. Done. As you already know, the whole point of the game is to get points. And the only way to get points is by taking these pretzel cards, flipping them over from the grid, you take them from the grid obviously, and you place these cards face up on your food tray. Okay? Once a line is complete, these pretzel cards get discarded, number one. Number two, you move according to the number below the line. So +1 for the first line, +2, or +3 down here. If you have these pieces of pretzels that are the same type of pretzel, and I'm just gonna hopefully find, like, let's say, okay, this is like a jam and peanut butter one. So hopefully I can find another jam and peanut butter one. If I can't, then, well, there goes my example. I probably should have thought this out first, huh? Trying to make it as realistic as possible for the, okay, here we go. Here's another, what you call it, jam and peanut butter one. So, like I said, for these two end pieces, if they match, which is a jam and peanut butter and a jam and peanut butter, then the player not only gets 2 points, but they also get a pretzel bite token, which will go here on their food tray. Same thing at the bottom. The only difference is that you have to match up 2 middle pieces if you want the bonus of a pretzel bite token or a party favorite card. There's an or. You can't get both. That's too overpowered, and we don't want that. Now you may be asking yourself, well, what if I get a pretzel card and I can't put it on my food tray? There's literally no place for me to put it on the food tray. All the slots that I could use are used up by other cards. So in this example, I have a middle piece on the second line, and I have 2 middle pieces already on the third line. And let's say I just grab this card magically from the 4x4 grid, and look at that, it's a middle piece. Oh no, what do I do? Well, unfortunately, it just goes to a discard pile. And that's it, that's your turn. The last thing I should say about the pretzel cards is that once you have a discard pile that is full and there's no longer a draw pile to draw from, the active player takes all the cards, and I know I didn't take it here, but they just shuffle the deck into, or they shuffle the discard pile into a new deck, and then you continue drawing from there. The last thing I need to mention about components is dealing with an advanced turn, or how to take a turn. And so I've created a scenario in which me, the player, has 1 pretzel bite token. I have an active Grand Party favorite card. I have an inactive Grand Party favorite card, and I have 3 over here, 3 party favorite cards. Now, what I was saying in the beginning is that typically players would just grab, a pretzel card to put on their food tray. In this case, I have several options that I can go through. My first option is to replace my Grand Party favorite card with the inactive one. To do that, I just simply have to discard it and just put the new one up there, if I really wanted to do that, okay? And then I could pick a pretzel card. And then this new power Grand Party favor card would go into effect, okay? The second choice I have is to discard this pretzel bite token for +1 movement, technically, on the pretzel pathway. Another option I have is to take one of these 3 party favorite cards, and I'll show you what they are real quickly. I could use one of these and have this effect go off first, or whichever one effect go off first, before I take a pretzel card. Now, to end the video, I just have one last reminder, because I felt like I brushed over this, and I feel like I should say it twice in case people are confused about what I mean. So taking my Grand Party favorite card that I had in the last scenario, come on camera, focus, thank you. It says move 1 space forward on the pretzel pathway every time a pretzel card is added to your food tray. So let's say that I get a pretzel card and I add it. My food tray's over on the left side for whatever reason. Okay, so I add it, I move +1. Okay, so that means this meeple was on 9. It goes to 10. You'll notice that 10 is colored differently from the rest of this pretzel pathway. That color signifies that I can pick up a party favorite card. In that case, I cannot use this party favorite card, which is peek at a row or column of pretzel cards from the grid before taking cards this turn. I can't do that because I just obtained it. Any component you obtain during your turn cannot be used on the same turn. And that's pretty much it for this video over Pretzel Party. I hope you enjoyed the game, and thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.